Every winter, Trinity's oratory contest engages rhetoric school students in a challenge of wisdom and eloquence. Faced with a formidable question that focuses on one of Trinity's 4 pillars, virtue, wisdom, purpose, or courage, each student marshals their learning and rhetorical power to answer with an insightful and persuasive speech. This year's question asks students to explore virtue and its opposite, vice. The root of our word virtue comes from the Latin virtus, manliness. As Christianity transformed classical civilization, however, the Western world developed a particular understanding of virtue that encompassed the full-orbed excellence of a human soul. 4 cardinal virtues, able to be cultivated by any human, were prized as foundational: courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. Crowning these were 3 theological virtues, received as gifts of the Holy Spirit to grow each man and woman into the image of Christ: faith, hope, and love. This year, students considered the spirit of the age, asking, what virtues are difficult and which vices are easy to cultivate in today's world? It is my pleasure to announce the 7 worthy students whose outstanding efforts took them to the final round of this contest. Please join me in commending freshman Grace Pentelis, sophomore Kylie Velasco, juniors Trevor Beecham and Emma Cunningham, senior Michael Bulos, and our runner-up, junior Katie Robertson. And now, it is my privilege to introduce you, the victor of the 2018 Oratory Contest, Mr. Drew Pfeiffer.
In my first weeks at Trinity in 7th grade, we read a story in literature class that confused me. In it, a father and son sought to escape imprisonment on the island of an evil king by flying away on human-sized wings of wax and feathers. The father, who designed the wings, gave his son 2 warnings. 1, don't fly too low, lest the ocean spray dampen the wing's feathers. And 2, don't fly too high, lest the heat of the sun melt the wax. Failure to heed either warning meant certain death. On the day of the escape, as the father and son gloriously soared away from the island, the young boy was overtaken by the thrill of flight. Ignoring his father's warnings, he ascended higher and higher and higher until the sun melted his wings, and he plummeted into the waves below. This famed story, the Greek myth of Daedalus and Icarus, boggled my 7th grade mind. I asked, why did Icarus, son of Daedalus, fly too high? He only had one job, didn't he? How could anyone be so foolish? Yet, here I am, 6 years later, standing before you to say that we all are Icarus. We stare down the ocean of our lives, which turns violently with the things we'll do, the places we'll go, the people we'll meet. We do not shoulder wings of wax and feathers, but instead fly as bodies and souls. We are guided not by a loving father and craftsman named Daedalus, but rather by the loving father and universal craftsman named Yahweh. Yet as we desperately flee from the island of sin, shame, and corruption mortal, seeking distant shores of goodness, truth, and beauty immortal, it becomes all too clear that the path of our journey here on earth is unclear. We question, what is a life well spent? How then should I live? What will I strive to be? We've all got aspirations, and in pursuit of those aspirations, we walk a dangerously narrow line between flying too high in pride and vainglory and flying too low in sloth and apathy. Fortunately for us, on life's long-haul flight, we have an altimeter, a steady gauge that guides our journey. This altimeter is a virtue a virtue that has wrongly been labeled a vice for millennia. In order to live well, we must cultivate the virtue of ambition. Ambition, in its strictest classical sense, is the pursuit of honor, deriving from Latin ambitio, which means searching for glory. However, our perception of ambition has been stained by its vicious little brother, selfish ambition. From the medievals to the modern, society has falsely equated the pursuit of honor with the worldly fruits it could potentially bear, such as a high-paying salary or a distinguished title. Yet true ambition, the virtue which I speak of, is not aimed at any of these trivialities, but rather at what Paul commands the Philippians to contemplate in his letter. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, and whatever is commendable. God did not create a universe where beauty is in the eye of the beholder and honor dependent upon the tongue of the recognizer. No, he has an objective standard of what is honorable. Thus, the virtue of ambition at its core is identifying what is honorable to God and pursuing those things wholeheartedly. Truly honorable and excellent things come in different shapes, sizes, and contexts, but all of them are alike in that they enable us to better fulfill our human purpose of knowing, loving, and glorifying God. Achieving excellence does not necessarily mean winning the race, getting a good grade, or receiving a standing ovation. Outcomes can be illusory, but when we compete, study, or perform for God's name and not our own, we satisfy our telos, our purpose. It follows that truly ambitious people understand that we are merely conduits of honor for our Creator. By participating in His glory, we exemplify what is honorable and become examples for others. Thus, we do not need external approval, for there is no greater glory we can attain than God using us as a light to others. When we are properly ambitious, we strive for excellence that we might answer the call of this year's school verse to proclaim the excellencies of Him who called us out of darkness into His marvelous light. However, ambition can become dangerous if practiced improperly. First, we become selfishly ambitious when we attempt to honor ourselves in place of God. Selfish ambition is the power-hungry, notoriety-seeking, money-grabbing vice that people often mistake for ambition itself. When we fall into this trap, we vainly attempt to console our imperfect nature by creating a facade of false perfection. Conversely, lack of ambition is an equal and opposite threat. Under-ambitious people have no desire to honor God or even themselves. They have no understanding of what is truly excellent, and thus they fall into cheap and accessible vices like lust or sloth. Today, selfish ambition and under-ambition are more prevalent than ever. Resume boosting, Instagram likes, and a growing hedonistic culture contribute to a warped understanding of what is honorable and thus foster selfish ambition. On the flip side, convenience brought about in a technological age where human action can be automated and human relationships can be digitized allows for millions to unknowingly lead under-ambitious lives. Now more than ever is the time to master the lost virtue of ambition. Now is the time to answer Christ's call in letting our light shine before others so that they might see our good works and give glory to our Father who is in heaven. Tonight, on a night dedicated to visions of the future, I challenge each and every one of you to make your next ambition being virtuously ambitious. For when we fly the path of honor that God has called us to, we do not melt, we do not fall, we do not falter, but we ascend into the spheres of goodness, truth, and beauty, crossing the sky as beacons to those below, and as shattered mirrors, slowly becoming more whole as we reflect the splendor of the one above. Thank you.